going to be performing a root cause analysis. In other words, we're going to be getting down to the bottom of how somebody was compromised. Okay, it's no better way to learn than to just jump right into it. Don't forget to read through these descriptions. We're about to go ahead and get our hands dirty. Let's get it. Next section. Alright, first things first, we're going to go ahead and log into our Kali user. You know the username, you know the password. And we're going to interact with a tool that we've used before. It's going to be Wazoo. So go ahead and open up Firefox. What we're going to do is just type in the IP address of Wazoo, 10.1.16.242. Alright, and yours may not load up right away. If it's not loading up, just give it a few seconds. Maybe 2 minutes, maybe 5. Username admin, password, PA W0RD. Alright. Gonna give this to load up all of the patterns and everything that we need. Get our configuration straight. We're gonna go down to the SIM and log and go into security events. Alright, now before we look at any security events, we're gonna change the dates. Okay, we're gonna pick a window. We're gonna change the dates from, we're gonna change a day ago to March 31st. Okay, so we're gonna put it at absolute and then select down here. I'm just gonna go to March 31st. March 31st, and I'm gonna change this time down here. 00:00:00. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna go change. We're gonna change the now time. We're gonna make that absolute as well. We're gonna change the now time to April 1st, 2023. Error hour search results down to 00:00:00.00. So instead of looking at everything, we want to look at events between March 31st and April 1st. So go ahead and select update. Alright, cool. Alright, we can select refresh one more time just to make sure we got all the current data. Sweet. Now, we are going to type in this event code. We're going to look for the string 060112. Alright. How many security events do we see for this rule ID? We have 17. Let's go ahead and get our points. We're going to scroll down. Alright, sweet. We're going to scroll down. We're going to look at all these. 60112. What does it look like? It looks like a Windows audit policy was changed. Okay, that's what we're getting down throughout all these rules. That Windows audit policy was changed. And if we actually go inside of here and to see what was changed, right? Successes were removed. That means successful events are no longer being logged anymore. They're no longer being tracked anymore. It was removed. Okay, if we look at some other events, same thing, success was removed. Let's go look at some more events. Success was removed. Let's look at something else. This looks like a bunch of successes were removed. Over here, we're seeing failures were removed as well. Right, successes and or failures were removed. That means these events, if somebody's successfully logging into an event, if somebody is failing to log into your system or successfully logging in, those events may not be shown anymore in Windows event log. I wonder why that would happen. All right, let's dig down into the string a little bit. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go to the first one. And we want to see the user. Okay, the user that did this looks like Jamie. All right, Jamie, why would you... That's our question right now. Jamie, why would you disable successful and failure events from being logged? All right, cool. When you scroll to the bottom, just keep in mind you can extend this to 50 rows instead of looking at the top 10. We can extend this to 50 rows. If we go all the way to the bottom, to the very, very last one, let's open this up. We want to find the data win system record ID event right here. All right, so the very, very, very first rule, we want to find the data system record event ID, or data win system record event ID. Data win system record event ID. Here it is, 1717526. We will run into this again later, but right now we're just going to take note of it. All right, so we're going to scroll back to the top and let's search for Jamie. Let's see what else Jamie did. Right, this is similar things that a SOC analyst would do. Right, we see that we had that event code of 60112. Right, 60112. Somebody had disabled the auditing of successful and failed events, and we found out that it was Jamie. So let's go take a look at what else Jamie did. Okay, if we scroll down, and they want us to look for event code 92653. 92653. Did I update it? I typed Jamie. Let me make sure I refresh. Okay, and I'm just going to control find that event code 92653, and there it is. All right, so let's take a look at this. It says Jamie logged using remote desktop connection from 10.1.16.2. All right, so Jamie logged in to his account over an RDP connection. That means Jamie was over here and he logged into DC10. Right, he logged into DC10, which is the domain controller, over an RDP connection. If you're familiar with RDP, it uses port 3389. That's one way to establish remote connection to a Windows machine. All right, what type of connection is indicated in the security alert for rule ID 92653? That's a remote desktop connection. We can see that right here in the description. Okay, we can see that right there in the description. All right, expand the security alert. Security alert related to rule ID 92653. Locate the data win system event record. Okay, so we want to find the same record number for this as we did for the last event. And it is 17464. Make sure you're typing in the right event because we're going to need this, 17464. Right, we're making note, like any other SOC analyst would do during their investigation. We're making note of these event IDs and the record IDs that we're finding so we can go and corroborate them inside of other logging tools. Okay, we can gather more information about them from other logging tools. For instance, we can go gather information about this ID from the Windows event logs on DC10. Right, we can get a lot more information about it. Okay, remember, we're going through a root cause analysis. We're trying to figure out why the audit policy was changed. Right, why did Jamie potentially change the audit policy from to not logging any successful and failed events? All right, so we're going to collapse this. Take note of the time, the alert. All right, so we're gonna collapse this and let's see what time this happened. This happened at Here, let me. This happened at 17:55. Okay, so 17:55. Do they want the seconds? Yep, 17:55. 26. All right, cool. That's military time for 5:55. All right, cool. So we're gonna leave this page open, and we're gonna go to the next section. We're gonna do some more investigation. Let's go over to DC10. This is the system that Jamie had logged into over his RDB connection. So let's go over here. We're gonna Control-Alt-Delete, log in as the administrator, and we're gonna open up the command prompt. First thing we're gonna do is open up the command prompt just to look at the audit policies to see if they've actually been changed, right? Because what we saw was that it was disabled to log success and failed events. So let's see if that's how true this is. We're going to type in this command to get the current audit policies, and you can see nothing is being audited here. Nothing is being audited here. Okay, what is the status of the audit policies on DC10? There is no auditing, right? That's an issue. Let's open up the event viewer to see if we can take a look at some more evidence. All right, we're gonna open up this Windows events and we're gonna go to security. Now, we're gonna search for 17526, right? This was the first event record ID that we recorded, right? This was the first event record ID that we recorded in the previous section, 17526. So let's search for that. We're gonna go to find, and we're gonna type 17526. Hit find next. I'm gonna close that out. All right, 17526, we can see Jamie did something. Jamie's account did something. It made an audit policy change. We saw that earlier. It made an audit policy change, okay? The change was removing successful events. All right, so it actually did happen. It was not a false positive, it's a true positive. Okay. Let's go down. See what they want us to do. Take note of the time of the first event. All right, so what time did this happen? Scroll up. We can see that this happened at 5:56. Right, 5:56. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and look at the next security code, 17464. 17464, that was another security code that we took note of, 17464. Let's go ahead and hit find next. Did I type it in? I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna scroll up to the top because I'm not sure if I typed it in or not. I'm gonna hit find, and I'm gonna hit find next. Yep, there we go. So this, we can see a successful logon. This right here is a successful logon event. Right, how do I know? It says 4624. 4624. Let's go into the details section to get a little bit more information about this logon event. We can see that this subject logged into DC10. It was Jamie. They logged into DC10 with a logon type of 10, right? A logon type of 10. Here's a list of all the logon types down here. Windows, there are logon types for each login. A number 2, logon type 2, the user logged into the computer. Logon type 3, user computer logged on to this computer from the network. Log on 10, I believe, is an RDP connection. It's a remote connection, right? This user logged onto this system remotely. All right, so that's what Jamie did, and we saw that in our logs. Let's score those points. We saw that in Wazoo, right? That Jamie established a remote connection for this same event code that we're looking at. All right, let's keep going. All right, just getting more information about what's happening here. More information. So we've just confirmed what we saw in Wazoo. We confirmed that Jamie's account, right? Because we don't know if it's Jamie yet, but we confirmed that Jamie's account was the one that made the audit policy change. Jamie's account was the one that stopped the success and failed events from being logged. We also saw in Wazoo that Jamie's account had established a remote connection to DC10, right? Because DC10 is where you would change the policy. So he established a remote connection to DC10 to change the policy. We're trying to figure out, why would they do that, right? Why would anyone stop successful or failed events from being logged? Okay, so let's go to MS10. Right, we're gonna go to MS10 because that's where this RDP session originated from. It originated from MS10. Okay, MS10. So we're gonna do some investigation on that system. Gonna go ahead and log in. We're actually gonna log in as administrator. We're not gonna log in as Jamie. Cool. We're gonna go back to event viewer. Let's look at the events on this system. Same thing, let's open up these Windows logs. Let's go to security, and we're going to find that time of 5:55. All right, I'm gonna close this out. And the first event that happened at 5:55, oh, looks like I missed it. Here it is. Cool. I'm gonna search it one more time because I think I messed something up. I'm gonna go all the way to the top. Select here. I'm gonna select find, and I'm going to. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not looking for 5:55. I'm looking for Jamie's account. Right. I'm looking for Jamie. Right, so let's hit find next on Jamie. All right, cool. Now let's go out of here. And we can see Jamie's account was successfully logged off. Right, we can see the first thing we find about Jamie is that his account was successfully logged off. Right, but they're saying that the selected event record should be a logon event with 4648. That's not what we're seeing right here. So let me go back and hit find next again. Let's keep hitting find next until we see a 4648. Here we go. I just saw it. How about we just search for 4648? But we're not sure if this is the first 4648, so I'm going to start it over one more time. Here's the 4648. Let's do it one more time, and we're just going to do it the way they want it. Once the first event with a timestamp Actually, no, I'm sorry. We were supposed to look for 555. I'm looking at two instructions at the same time. So the first thing we're supposed to do is look for 555. We're going to find that first. All right. Once that is found, once we find the first event that started at 555, then we're going to search for Jamie. All right, so that was found. Okay, we can see it right here. The first event at 555 was found. Right? Why are we looking for the first event at 555? Because the notes that we took from Wazoo, the event that Jamie had happened at 555. Right? So now we're gonna go ahead and look for Jamie after getting to this first event at 555. So we're gonna hit next now. Alright, cool. Now we can see this event of 4648, and we can see log on was attempted using explicit credentials. I'm going to expand this so we can see more. And it was conducted by Dylan. Right, what we see here is by Dylan. Dylan was the one that established an RDP connection using Jamie's accounts. Right, Dylan was the one that established an RDP connection using Jamie's accounts to RDP to this target, right, to RDP to DC10. So it wasn't Jamie that had the RDP connection to DC10. All right, let's draw out what's going on. All right, so Jamie's account right here had established an RDP connection with DC10, right? That's what we saw in our Wazoo logs. That's what we saw in the Windows event logs. That Jamie's account established an RDP session to DC10. But what we're seeing here is that in these logs on MS10, what we're seeing here, let me draw it over here. We have Jamie's account on MS10 established an RDP session to DC10. Right, that's what we have gathered so far. But now what we're finding out is that Dylan used Jamie's account on MS10 to establish that RDP connection to DC10. So now why in the world would Dylan be using Jamie's account to establish that RDP session to DC10? Okay, that's pretty interesting. So let's find another event code, 4176. So now we're getting somewhere, okay? We're finding some more information out, and it's looking like Dylan, it may be the culprit behind some of this stuff. So now we're looking for the event code 4176, right? 4176. Let's go ahead. I just hit find next. And this is it right here. Right, we have a successful log on to MS10 by Dylan. So Dylan logged into MS10. Is there a login code here? Yeah, login type. Okay, so Dylan had an interactive session to MS10, right? If you go back to those login code types, we can see that Dylan logged in to MS10, right? Dylan logged into MS10 directly, right? Directly. He logged into MS10 directly, and from there, it's looking like Dylan started doing some malicious activity, right? Because we're trying to figure out who changed the audit policy, right? It's starting to look like it was Dylan. Okay, let's go here. We're going to score that. The time of Dylan logging into MS10. Where's that event log? It's 548. That's before 555. Alright, because 555, I believe that's when the RDP session 2 DC10 was established, or at 555, that's when the audit policies were changed. I can't remember just yet, but we will find out in a second. Alright, so we got some more information. Let's keep investigating. Let's go back to PC10. Alright, let's go back to PC10. This is Jamie's computer. Let's figure out what could have happened here. We're going to log in as Jamie. Let's figure out what could have happened with Jamie's account. How did Dylan get Jamie's credentials, right? Because for Dylan, because this is what happened so far. We have Jamie's account right here. His account did what? His account logged into MS10 and then used that to establish a remote connection with DC10. But we're learning that it was Dylan that did that. It was Dylan that used Jamie's credentials to log into MS10 to remote into DC10 and change the audit policy logs. So how in the world did Dylan get Jamie's credentials? Let's go ahead and look at this at Thunderbird. All right, this is an email application. Let's take a look here, and we have an email that says "grab you free juice." All right, that's already giving me red flags. Right, this is bad. It's not even spelled out correctly. It should be "grab your free juice." Let's open this up. Oh, first thing that pops out is a link in here. All right, there's a link in this email asking somebody to change some stuff to their system, right? Access a configuration script. All right, and there's another link in here going to chooseshop.com. That's two red flags. There are links in this email. If I hover over this link and you look at the bottom, you can see that it points to a batch script. That is no good, and it looks like it's saying new proxy batch script. The IP address of that is 10.1.24.142. Okay, let's put that IP address right here. We're taking notes. 10.1.24.142. All right, and we'll come back there. Let's go ahead and ping that IP address. Let's see what's going on with it. We're going to open up a command prompt. And let's just ping that IP address. Did we get anything? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Let's see if Jamie actually downloaded that link, right? Let's see if Jamie actually went to this website to download the new proxy.bat file. All right, so what we're going to do is search for it. So what this command is doing, it's going to cd over to our C directory, and then it's going to do a search, right? This / is a search for this file. So let's see if we find it. Oh, looks like we got it. It's in Jamie's downloads folder, right? It is in Jamie's downloads folder. So we're going to give the absolute path for that over here. C:/users/Jamie's/download. So Jamie did download it. Unfortunately, he downloaded. He should have never clicked on the link. All right, let's see what's inside of that file. I'm going to cancel this out. Clear my screen, and we're going to see what's inside of that file, right, from the command prompt. We don't have to execute it. We don't have to double click the program. We can see what's inside of that file from the command prompt. Ooh, it is changing some network proxy settings. So it is changing Jamie's proxy settings on this computer. So what does that mean? It means, hey, this is Jamie's computer right here. This is PC10, right? What this script is doing is setting up a proxy for Jamie to go through. That means if Jamie wanted to go to to any website after that, let's say onlinesecurity.com, the proxy is going to get that information. If Jamie had to log into onlinesecurity.com with the username and password, the proxy is going to get that information. So that is starting to give us some ideas of what is starting to happen or what may have happened. Looks like Jamie downloaded that link. He downloaded this link from his email, right? And he double clicked it, he executed this script, and it changed his proxy settings, and maybe he typed in some credentials, but we don't know yet. So let's keep going. So we're gonna open up Firefox. We're gonna go check out his proxy settings to see if what we drew out is actually true. Right, we're going to see if this proxy was actually set up. We can look at that in our Firefox proxy settings. So let's go over here. We're going to go to settings. Right, I just select this hamburger icon right there, go to settings. And we're just going to scroll down. You can see network settings. Let's open that up. And we can see that the proxy is set up over here. Right, so somebody did manually set up that proxy. Let's look at that script again. And yes, it's the same IP address, 10.1.16.2. 10.1.16.2. All right, we got a problem, right? It was manually set. We're gonna go to the Juice Shop website. I'm gonna just type into the address bar. I'm gonna select this, juiceshop.com, hit enter. Doesn't look like it brought me anywhere. I'm gonna try it again. So it's not bringing me anywhere. Right, we're not getting anything. That means the proxy is probably not online anymore. Because if this web browser is supposed to be using this proxy, and we're not able to get to juiceshop.com, we're not able to get to any other website, that means the proxy is not online right now. So we won't be able to access the internet until that proxy is online. Right, so, and you can see that the connection timed out here. Alright, we got to figure out what's going on with this proxy now. Alright, so let's go ahead to the next section. We're not done investigating. We got to figure some things out. We're going to go back to our Kali machine. And let's go ahead and open up a terminal. Let's try to ping that website. Ping juiceshop.com/C. We're only going to ping it once. And look at the IP address that is bringing back 2030.113.228. So the website is online. Right, the website is online, but Jamie's system, PC1, is not able to get to that website. Why? Because something's wrong with that proxy that was set up. Alright, so we're going to go back to, let's go back and open up our Firefox. And we're going to go and type in 10.1.128.253. Right, so we're logging into our router. Go ahead and accept this. We are logging into the router. The credentials are root. Password is password. Right, you see that those are the credentials right here on step 7. This is the router we're logged into. The router has a firewall, VPN, some other services. You can see different interfaces that it's using. Alright, we're going to go into the firewall. We're going to go to log files. And we're going to select live view. Alright, before we start doing anything, let's go ahead and select some filters. Alright, we're going to switch this action to destination. And the destination we're going to put is 203.0.113.228. right? This is the juice shop IP. All right, so we're just gonna hit the plus button right here, and we see one connection going there, 10.1.16.66 to juice shop. This is when we pinged it. This is us pinging juice shop. All right, we were just testing the connection out. All right, so we're gonna do it again, right? We're gonna switch this to a source IP, and we want the IP address to be 10.1.24.101. All right, this is PC10, right? PC10 as a source. I'm not getting anything. 10.1. Let me clear this. All right, so we're gonna do that. There we go. I had to clear the destination. I had 2 filters set. We only need 1. To clear the other filter, all you have to do is click on it. All right, now we see PC10, 10.1. No, that's not PC10. We're gonna hit the plus button. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. Right, source. Am I typing the right IP address? Says source, then said 10.1.24.101. Okay. And this isn't it, so I'm gonna refresh this page just to make sure I'm not tripping. Go here, source, 10.1.24.101. Hit that plus, and yeah, no, we're not getting anything back. All right, we are not getting anything back. There should be one result, if any. Okay, cool. We're not getting anything back. So there were no direct connections made from this PC to juiceshop.com. All right, and that's right? Because it would have been through the proxy, remember? It would have been through the proxy. We're not gonna see connections from PC10 to juiceshop.com. We're gonna see it from the proxy, not juiceshop, because his computer was compromised. He downloaded that script, and that script created a proxy on the system. All right, cool. So that was that. We're gonna create another source. Another filter, 10.1.16.2. This is the IP address of MS10. I gotta remove all of these. And I'm not seeing anything here. Let's refresh this. I'm gonna go source 10.1.16.2. Okay, create another source, 10.1.16.2. Hit plus. We're not getting anything right now. Unless I'm doing something wrong, which is very, very, very possible. Let me just double check. It's okay. All right, let's see. There should be only room. All right, select source, and I want 1.16.2. That's the right IP address, 10.1.16.2. Then the IP address of MS10. The value, there should be several results, but we're not seeing anything here from this source. Okay, we're not seeing anything here from this source. So let me see something. I just want to make sure I'm not doing anything wrong. The only thing we're seeing is 10.1.16.1, which I believe is the domain controller. Let me see. Ping BC10. Let's look up DC10. Right, and this lookup shows us that DC10's IP address is 10.1.16.1. So we see these logs are 10.1.16.1 going to juiceshop.com. Right, and we see 10.1.16.66. This is our IP address on Kali Linux pinging juiceshop.com. Right, but the other connections are DC1 going to juiceshop.com. But for some reason we're not seeing DC2. Here, let me do a control find 10.1.16.2. Yeah, we're not seeing that in here. So what I tried to do was go back and redo the lab to see if we would get these events that are supposed to show up for 10.1.16.2, but we're not getting it at all. So there's something wrong on the back end. What we're supposed to see, if I go back over to the PC system right now, we should see, because of this script right here, right, this proxy, we should see, I'm gonna put J for juice, JU for juice. We should see this proxy of 10.1.16.2. This is the MS10 system. We should see this guy trying to communicate with the Juicebox system in those firewall logs. All right, that's not something that we can replicate. Or actually, let's go ahead and do it. Let's see if we can. Right, you don't have to do this part, but I want to see if I can force those logs to show up in the firewall. So I'm going to go to juiceshop.local. I think that was the website. Alright, was that it? Let me go back. What box did we see that on? Yeah, let me go back over here. Let's go back to PC10 for a second. And I'm gonna open up his email again. See if I can replicate that in the logs real quick. I'm gonna copy that, juiceshop.com. Alright, cool. I just replicated that real quick. Let me go back to the firewall and let's see if we can see it in there now. It actually might take a while though. Alright, I can see it in there now. So let's set the source. I'm gonna do that again. Set the source 10.1.16.2. And now I can see some connections going to the juice shop. All right, I had to go and put that in there. I had to go force that. Feel free to do that if you want to, but I didn't want to keep going on without that being in. Without that being in here. All right, so I'm gonna put this back in here. Remember, I did have to start the lab over. I started it over just to see if if the logs would show up on their own, but they weren't showing up on their own, right? So we went ahead and just forced those logs. I went into MS10 and just went to juiceshop.com from MS10, and now we can see those logs. Just so you understand where we are right now. It's a lot on the screen. So PC10, right? This is Jamie's computer. Jamie's computer, PC10, accidentally downloaded a bad link from email. The link, what it did was set up a proxy, right? The proxy was MS10, right? That's this IP address right here. MS10 was the proxy, so that means anything that Jamie does is going to go through this proxy. That means anything that Jamie does, if he's typing in credentials going to a website, we'll see that this proxy. Even if he goes to the Juice website, we're going to see it in this proxy, right? And that's what happened, right? But we should also see when Jamie clicked on that link in the email, the juiceshop.com link, right? Which would be here. We wouldn't see it coming from Jamie's computer because Jamie is using a proxy that he doesn't know he's using. All right, cool. So the next one says, let's catch up to where we were. Sorry. The port number, destination port number is port 80, right? That means this traffic is not encrypted. Right, that means that traffic is in plain text. It is not encrypted. Alright, now we're going to go to the next section. We're going to go back to MS10, where we just were, right, forcing things to happen. We're going to open up the command prompt. We are going to just see if we find anything on this system, any files that start with proxy, right? Because if this is the proxy, we have to find something that was used to create the proxy. Remember, MS10 is the proxy that Dylan, the attacker, in this case, set up. And we can see there's a file over here that does include the proxy, and it's in the HR directory. Right, it's in the Human Resources directory. Let's see what's inside of that file. Right, and this is a PowerShell script too, right? It ends in .ps1, so that is a PowerShell script. And you can see it is starting a proxy on port 80. Right, all this down here is the script trying to start up a proxy on port 80. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and see if there are any PCAP files on this system. PCAP files are packet captures. Okay, I don't see any PCAPs. It says, is it on this system though? I don't see any PCAP files on this system. They said it's under Dylan's documents folder. Let's see. We're gonna go to C, users, Dylan, continue, documents, and it's right here, right? It is here, right? There are some PCAP files right here. So what we're gonna do is open up Wireshark, right? Why would there be PCAP files here? Where Dylan probably, since this is the proxy, Dylan probably was capturing the traffic, right? All this traffic down here. This is PC10. Don't forget about the proxy. Going to Juice Shop, right? We can also on this, right, this proxy is just MS10, right? It's the MS10 server. There's also Wireshark on here. That means anything that's happening from this proxy to the outside world or to other networks, Wireshark can capture all that traffic, right? So maybe he was capturing that traffic to eavesdrop on some usernames, eavesdrop on some passwords. So what we're gonna do is open up that packet capture file. We're gonna select open. We're gonna go back to this PC. We're gonna go down to the C drive. We're gonna go to users. We're gonna go to Dylan. We're gonna go to his documents folder, and we're gonna upload this Juice Shop packet capture. All right, and we're gonna filter this out to just look at post requests. Right, the display filter we're going to use is looking at post request. What's a post request? This is when you're sending data. Right, post request is an HTTP action. It's an HTTP verb. When you're sending data across the network, just like your username and password, it is going to be sending a post request. If we select this second one right here, that's interacting with this rush URL login, if we scroll down, you can see the password, the username, or the email that Jamie used, and the password that he used, right? And this is to log into the juice shop, right? The destination. This is the source. This is MS10. Here's the destination. That's the juice shop, right? He was trying to log into the juice shop, and Jamie provided his credentials. You can see the credentials right there. If you want to get a better look at it, all you got to do is right click this and then go to, right click the second one and then go to follow TCP stream. Okay, and we can see Jamie's email being provided and his password being provided. This is how Dylan got Jamie's username and password. Right, it says what is the username, email address. In the post request, the username is jamie@structurereality.com, and the password is PAW. There we go. Right, we got that from the packet capture the same way Dylan probably did it as well. And that is it. Let's go ahead to our comprehensive questions. In the attack scenario of the lab, your investigation determined that which user account had the privileges to disable auditing on DC10. That was Jamie, right? Jamie's account was the one that disabled the auditing. Which event of the security violation took place first? Let's see. Theft of Jamie's credentials. I don't think that happened first. Jamie visiting the juice shop website. I don't think that happens first. Maybe changing the proxy settings. Yeah, the proxy settings had to be changed first. What is the basic description of logon 2? That's going to be interactive. Which of the following security resolutions or mitigations would be sufficient to have prevented the audit policy blocks on this? On DC10. Block the execution of unknown code. Right, we're gonna block the execution of unknown code. Right, that script that Jamie had downloaded. What is the goal of root cause analysis? Place the blame on the victim. No, I'm playing with it. All right, determine the initial parameters of a security. All right, so that is it, y'all. We just did a root cause analysis. We just got to the bottom of things to figure out what actually happened, right? What happened at the beginning when we started with Wazoo, we saw that the audit policies were changed. Why would the audit policies be changed on DC10, right? No one should be changing that, right? And what they did was stop successful and failed logons from being logged. Okay, how did that happen? Well, somebody used Jamie's account to RDP into DC10 to do that, right? They used Jamie's account to disable that logon policy, right? Or that audit policy. Now, how did they get Jamie's account, right? How do we know that was Jamie? Well, Jamie downloaded an email, right? Well, not downloaded an email. Jamie accidentally clicked on the bad link in an email, and that bad link set up a proxy. It set up a proxy, and that email also asked him to go to juiceshop.com, and Jamie did. After he clicked on the link, it created a proxy, and he did go to juiceshop.com, and at juiceshop.com, this is where he put in his credentials. He put in his username and his password, and he was compromised. That way, Dylan was able to take those credentials and use MS10 to RDP into DC10 to make those changes to disable that audit policy. If y'all enjoy this lab, don't forget to smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that online security is the place to come and learn. If you ran into issues, it's okay. Do what we did. Figure out how to get around it. If you need help getting around it, drop a question in the comment section.